Hello everyone, let's start with new topic, union and its territory. This is one of the very important topic which must be read by every student in the beginning of his start of polity studies. Very important topic. In this chapter we are going to study four important articles. They are from article 1 to 4. What these articles says, what is their purpose. We'll try to understand all these articles in a very simple manner. Before moving further, I just want to give you a brief revision of everything that we have studied till today. The topic of union and its territory is given in article 1 to article 4. We are going to study all these four articles in detail. Second important thing, the topic is covered under part 1 of the Indian Constitution. I told you Indian Constitution is a book of fundamental laws. This book has various chapters and those chapters are called as parts of the Constitution. So first part of the Constitution means first chapter of the Constitution. So this first chapter of the Constitution, it talks about union and its territory. In this case, we have studied these four important lines in the chapter on features of the Constitution. If you are not aware about these words, please go through the chapter on features of the Constitution. These are four straightforward lines. First, India is a union of states. Remember this thing. Second, India is not a federation of states. Very important. These two lines reflect the nature of Indian polity. What is it? It says India is a union of states. Second thing, India is not a federation of states. But the most important thing, Indian Constitution is federal in nature. I repeat once again, Indian Constitution is federal in nature. This is written over your fourth line. Indian Constitution is federal in nature. So these three are very important lines. Now, before moving further into the topic, I just want to give you the theme of all the four articles of this chapter. What the themes of these four articles says. We'll just have a brief look at these themes of the chapter. So first thing, article first, it talks about name and nature of Indian polity. So first article talks about what is name of India and what is the type of Indian polity. Second article, it talks about admission and establishment of new states. So basically article 2 talks about external adjustment. It means taking certain territories inside India from outside the territory of India. So basically article 2, it talks about external adjustment. Third, it talks about changing the name, area and boundaries of the state. So basically article 3, it talks about internal adjustment. This is very important. Once you are very clear about theme of the topic, then it becomes very easy to understand the topic in its entirety. And fourth, article 4, it says anything which is being done under article 2 and 3 need not be treated as amendment under article 368 of the Indian Constitution. I repeat once again, article 4 says anything that is being done under article 2 and 3, it need not to be treated as amendment under article 368. It means the thing that we are going to do under article 2 and article 3 are done with which kind of majority? It requires just only simple majority. We have studied this point in the chapter on constitutional amendment. It said the changes that are being made in constitution by simple majority need not be treated as amendments under article 368 of the Indian Constitution. So I repeat once again, article 1, it talks about name and nature of polity. Article 2, it talks about external adjustment. Article 3, it talks about internal adjustment. Article 4, it says anything that is being done under article 2 and article 3 need not be treated as amendment under article 368 of the Indian Constitution. And the fourth important point which should be remembered by everyone is federalism is the basic structure of Indian Constitution. Very important line. Federalism is the basic structure of Indian Constitution. This must be remembered by everyone. It is the basic structure of Indian Constitution. Now let us start with article 1. What article 1 says? Article 1, it describes India, that is Bharat. India, that is Bharat, as a union of states. So here basically two things it makes very clear. First thing, it talks about name of India, right? First thing, it talks about name of India. Now second thing, it says the nature of Indian polity. So it says what shall be the name of India? India, that is Bharat, is the name of India. It means the name of India is mix of modern name as well as traditional name. So it talks about these two things. It deals with two things. First, it talks about the name of India. Second thing, it talks about nature of Indian polity or type of Indian polity. So here, the nature of Indian polity is India is a union of states. We have seen those 4 lines that India is not a federation of states. India is a union of states. This we have seen. Now, let us discuss about the name of India. When the discussion was going on in Constituent Assembly about the name of India, there was no unanimity between the members of Assembly. Some wanted the name of India should be based on the rich tradition, culture and heritage of India. That is, India should have a traditional name. Whereas many freedom fighters who had seen modernity, who wanted to take India on higher height, they wanted the name of India should be a modern name. So as it was lack of consensus on the name of India, Constituent Assembly unanimously decided to have the name of India in a mixed format. So a mix was adopted where India was called as a Bharat. So that's why Article 1 says India, that is Bharat. It means India shall have 2 names. Bharat shall be the traditional name of India, whereas India shall be the modern name of India. So this is basic which is being given. Bharat is the traditional name of India, whereas India is the modern name, and this mix was accepted in the Constituent Assembly. So this is basically the name of India, India, that is Bharat. So Article 1, it talks about both modern as well as traditional names of the India. Now it says what is the nature of Indian polity. Article 1 says India shall be a union of states. It means India is not a federation of state, India is a union of state. Very, very important. India is a union of state. Now we have preferred the phrase of union of states. We said that we should be called as a union of states and we should not be called as a federation of state. Why so? Because as we have discussed, our constitution has given states legislative power, economic power, financial power. Also simultaneously our states have the nature of polity same like in the center. So why India should not be called as a federation of states? Why we preferred the term union of state? The answer lies in the next slide. Why India is a union of states and why it is not a federation of state? First, India is not formed out of any agreement between the state, unlike USA. United States of America is the oldest federation in the world, and it is formed out of agreement between northern states of America and southern states of America, which is not the case in India. India is not formed out of any agreement between the state. Second, Indian Federation is union because it is indestructible, which means no state has the right to move away from Indian Union. No state cannot move out of India on its own. Only the parliament has the right to give away any part of Indian territory to any other foreign country, but states do not have right to move away from Indian Union. That's why this is Indian Federation is called as union because it is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. This is written over here. No state has the right to move away from Indian Union. Does it mean that in USA states have right to move away from US Federation? This question comes to our mind. Is it so? Yes, it is so. The states in United States of America have right to move away from US Federation, but the procedure to move away from US Federation is so difficult that no state can move away from US Federation. This is the case. So I repeat once again, no state can move away from Indian Union. States do not have right to move away from Indian Union, whereas in case of America, states have right to move away from US Federation, but the only thing is that the process to move away from US Federation is so difficult that no state can move away from US Federation. That's why USA is a federation of states and India is a union of states. So these are the two reasons why India is not a federation of state, but India is a union of states. Now here two terms are used. One is territory of India, second is union of India. Now whenever the word territory of India comes, this territory of India covers three important parts of India. First, it covers territories of the states. Second, it covers union territories. So these two parts are being covered. But the third most important part which comes in the territory of India is territory of India covers the territories that may be acquired by the government of India at any time. It means if we win any territory outside India and we want to add that part into Indian Union, then that part shall be the part of the territory of India. So I repeat once again, territory of India covers three important dimensions. First, it covers territories of the states. Second, it covers union territories. And third, it covers the territories that may be acquired by the government of India from time to time. So this is the definition of territory of India. Then comes Union of India. Union of India covers states only. I repeat once again, Union of India covers states only. The term Union of India does not cover union territories. The term Union of India does not cover the foreign acquired territories as long as they do not get the status of states. So the term territory of India is, the term Union of India is smaller as compared to Union of territory of India. Here I want to show it diagrammatically. The term territory of India is larger than Union of India. I repeat once again, the term territory of India is larger than Union of India. I repeat this once again, keep it in mind. The term territory of India is larger than Union of India. Why? Territory of India covers states, it covers union territories, it covers foreign territory acquired, whereas Union of India covers only states. So remember this thing, the term territory of India is larger than Union of India. Very, very important dimension which must be learned by every student. Now we can acquire foreign territory, but how? What is the method and why we can acquire foreign territory? So remember, first thing, India is a sovereign state. Very, very important line. India is a sovereign state. We have studied the meaning of sovereignty. A country which do not have any kind of internal or external interference is called as a sovereign state. A country which do not have any kind of internal or external interference is called as a sovereign state. So India is a sovereign state. So being a sovereign state, it means being independent to have to carry out its own affairs. India can acquire foreign territory according to the most recognized international law. Whenever India is going to acquire a foreign territory, it has to follow international law because it is answerable to some of the international things in international fora, various international forums. So India can acquire foreign territory according to the most recognized international law. Here I want to give one important thing. Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman and Diu, Puducherry, Sikkim are the acquired territories since the start of the constitution. Many people do not know this thing or they are not aware about this thing. I repeat once again, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman and Diu, Puducherry, Sikkim are acquired territories since the start of the Indian constitution. So keep this thing in mind. It is very, very important from your prelims point of view. Now, what are the modes of acquiring foreign territories? So basically various modes are there for acquiring foreign territories. Here we are going to discuss just only three modes of acquiring foreign territory. First, it is cession. Second, it is occupation. Third, it is conquest or subjugation, that is winning. So these are the internationally accepted modes of acquiring foreign territories. First one, it is cession. Second, it is occupation. Third, it is conquest or subjugation. What its meaning, we'll try to see in next few slides. First, what is meaning of cession? It is acquisition of a foreign territory by a treaty, which means agreement, by purchase of that particular region, getting as a gift for a lease or through plebiscite. So whenever a foreign territory is acquired by India through treaty, by purchasing that land, by taking it as a gift or on a lease or on plebiscite, it is called as cession. So keep this in mind. Second one is occupation. The region which are not occupied by a recognized ruler and we are occupying that region, it is a occupation. Let us say we found a particular island in the Arabian Sea. Not Pakistan, nor India, nor Maldives, nor Sri Lanka are claiming sovereignty on that particular region. Only tribals are living on that particular island, and it was not known to the world today. It means that island do not have recognized ruler. So when India acquire that island which did not have a recognized ruler, then that process is called as occupation. So the regions which are not occupied by a recognized ruler, it is called as occupation. Acquiring that region is called as occupation. And third is conquest or subjugation. When we acquire a foreign territory by winning in a war or any other aggression, it is called as conquest or subjugation. I repeat once again, when we acquire a foreign territory by winning in a war or any other aggression, it is called as conquest or subjugation. This is article 1. Thank you very much for watching. We will come with article 2 and 3 soon. Thank you very much.